Hi everyone, I hope you're well, thanks for clicking on the video. They announced recently that Ashley Johnson and Troy Baker, the actor and actress that play Joel and Ellie in the Last of Us video game, will both have roles in the Last of Us HBO. And I've been thinking about it and I thought, hey, why not do a video we could discuss which characters we'd like to see them play, which characters maybe we think, aren't the best suited for them, because I do have some opinions on the matter, you know what I mean? There are certain roles I don't want to see Ashley Johnson in, and there's a role or two I don't want to see Troy Baker in. To be honest, I think Troy Baker has a wider selection of characters that he could play in comparison to Ashley Johnson, just because it's his voice, you know? When Troy Baker talks regularly, he doesn't sound anything like Joel. Unlike Ashley Johnson, who sounds exactly like Ellie, you know what I mean? I feel like it could possibly ruin the immersiveness if you have Ellie on screen too often. I mean, not Ellie, Ashley Johnson, sorry. Because if she's going to be on screen and all you're hearing is Ellie, that's going to, like I said, I feel like that's going to ruin the immersiveness. But back to Troy Baker, I'm seeing a lot of news on Twitter that perhaps he could be playing David. I don't want to see this at all. I really don't want to see this. Troy Baker's a fantastic actor. I have no doubt he could play this character. But man, David is dark, twisted, evil, uncomfortable to be around. You know what I mean? Like, that's not who I picture Troy Baker playing personally. The guy plays guitar, sings, cares about his hair. That's not what I want to see. But someone I could see him playing is David's boy, his right-hand man, James. He's with David the first time you meet him when you're playing as Ellie in the winter. You kill the doe, and these two appear. I think, why not have Troy play as James? You know what I mean? It's not too much of a significant character. He could kind of bounce off of David, you know what I mean? I think that would work beautifully well. I'd have no problem with that as a casting, personally. Now moving on to another character I could see him playing, Robert. Robert is from earlier on in the game. I think this would be the perfect decision to have Troy Baker play him. Kind of some similar problems in that Robert is a very dirty, slimy guy, unlike Troy Baker, but again, Troy Baker's an excellent actor, he can pull it off. Another reason I think it would be a good idea to have Troy Baker possibly playing Robert is because he's going to make an appearance early on in the show, I would imagine, right? So I think that would be a cool nudge, wink, wink to the audience, you know, if we had Troy Baker playing as him. The people that played the video game, to be honest, they might not even know. Like, if they're not too familiar with what Troy Baker looks like in real life, you may never know that Troy Baker plays Joel, frankly. Another option is you could just bang him in a Firefly costume and, you know, he could play any number of Fireflies perfectly fine, you know what I mean? That would almost make more sense. Maybe you could have him play the Firefly who detains Joel at the hospital. You know, that would be a pretty brilliant idea. And on the other side of that, you could have him play a military officer at like the quarantine zone or something. I like that as well, just because it will happen early on in the show, and again, it would be a cool nudge to the audience that have played the video game. I would have no problem with either of those, you know. But that's what I'm talking about. Troy has a vast selection, unlike Ashley Johnson. I think just because of how synonymous Ashley Johnson's voice is with Ellie and the video game, I think she has to have a less significant role, or at least a role where she spends minimal time with Ellie on screen. You know what I mean? Because I genuinely do feel like that will ruin the immersiveness, at least for me. I've read on Twitter perhaps she could be playing Tess. It's for those reasons I just mentioned that I don't want to see her playing Tess. I don't want to see her on the screen for long periods of time with Ellie, because that's going to really mess with my head. I'm already having kind of minor issues with the idea of Bella Ramsey playing Ellie, you know what I mean? I don't need it spoiled further. I'm sure Bella Ramsey's going to smash it, but just me personally getting to grips with how Ellie will sound on the HBO series, I don't need that being messed with more, you know what I mean? So again, I don't want to see Ashley Johnson as Tess. She's a great actress, I'm sure she could play it just fine, but for all the reasons I just mentioned, that's why I don't want to play in Tess. Someone who I do want her to play as, I think would make perfect sense, is Tommy's wife, Maria. That makes perfect sense. They damn near look the same, right? They're not going to spend too much time, I wouldn't think, on the screen with Ellie. You know what I mean? I think Maria she'll have a few scenes with Ellie, but it won't be anything for too long. I think that would be a good casting choice for Ashley Johnson. Another reason I could get on board with this casting is that I'm assuming here as well, so take this with a pinch of salt, but despite Maria not having a ton of screen time, she's still a fairly significant character, you know what I mean? She's Tommy's wife. She is important and she does carry some weight, at least in the game. and I'm sure it'll be similar in the show. And already this is where my ideas kind of start to run thin for Ashley Johnson, honestly. You know, I don't think there are many key characters she could play just because of, like I mentioned, how synonymous she is with Ellie. Her voice is just, it's too off-putting. So maybe we could have her in as a bandit. You know, that would make a lot of sense. You could have her be a part of the group that run into Joel and Ellie on the road. Or maybe, again, you could have her be at the quarantine zone at the very beginning. Maybe someone who's struggling for food or something like that. I think that would be a good idea too. But these are just my opinions at the end of the day, guys. If you guys agree, let me know in the comments down below. And if you disagree, I want to hear your comments even more. I want to hear about some roles maybe you'd be interested in seeing these guys play. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I've got a ton more of the Last of Us content coming soon. Plenty of other videos on the way as well. So yeah, until next time, guys.